All right. Hello, everybody. This is Rupal from QMetry team. And I also have Manoj with me on the session, who is the moderator for this session. I hope you had a really productive session at JiraCon yesterday and some interesting sessions lined up today as well. We at QMetry are absolutely excited to go ahead and share our views on managing continuous testing projects effectively with QMetry. So I think I just wanted to briefly talk about who we are and what the product is about. So we are lovingly known as QTM4J in the Atlassian market, which is QMetry Test Management for Jira. We as a vendor or an organization has been in this ecosystem and industry for more than a decade. We have a great alliance with Atlassian, extended work friends, network of Atlassian partners, and we intend to innovate hand in hand with Atlassian. The aim of us as a QMetry team was to ensure that we offer a one-stop solution, a single app that caters to the testing needs and growing testing complexities of QA teams of different scales and sizes across the organizations and industries. And hence, I think we've transitioned the product, its architecture, the GUI, and innovated over a period of time. And now we have a hybrid approach, which basically offers test management that extends the native Jira experience, builds on top of what Jira offers in terms of the user interface and the customizations, issue types, and all the sort. But it also offers a customized test management capabilities on top of it that specifically is needed by testing teams for a tighter Jira integration, deeply engraved into the Atlassian ecosystem. At the same time, offers testing specific features like user role permissions, open APIs, versioning, audit trails, and of the sort, right? So that's something that I would want to emphasize on, and keeping in mind the needs of teams that have focused around continuous testing and adoption of DevOps pipeline. So these are some of the tools that we offer integration with across the DevOps pipeline. Maybe version control tools. It includes Bitbucket, GitLab, GitHub, continuous testing. We offer integration with the widely used automation frameworks, but there are automation APIs that can be consumed beyond this. And we also have a very tighter integration with tools across the Atlassian ecosystem, inclusive of Confluence. So when we're actually, brainstorming on giving a quick walkthrough of QMetry, its interface, and the capabilities that it can offer, there were three kinds of testing teams that we have worked with, or I've broadly categorized into, that comes across different sort of challenges in terms of adoption of continuous testing practices, deeply incorporating agile practices for testing while they've done that for project management in Jira. The first kind is basically a growing organization, maybe a small scale or a startup sort of an organization that has perfectly embedded and utilize agile centric project management capabilities, but somehow they have worked through workarounds to manage testing assets, maybe in Jira by custom issue types, or have somehow used offline tools like Excel or rudimentary tools, and they are looking at adoption of a more systematic, organized way of test management. So for these kind of teams, the common challenges or goals that we actually explored in terms of discussions with team members at different levels was most certainly a smoother transition. So the teams with an optimized set of resources and constrained timelines wanted to ensure that existing pool of assets were smoothly transitioned. There was an easier adoption. There's change management that's resisted. They were used to using things isolated, development, testing, isolated to each other. And adoption was a challenge. Also, they wanted a simple test management, Jira-like test management that also provided room to evolve as their testing processes and teams evolve, right? And the solution that easily comes handy with QMetry is it is a native Jira app, resides within Jira, and offers a simple and very much Jira-like user experience, specifically customized and curtailed for testing teams. We also offer easier adoption, two folds. One, in terms of the entire user interface is so easy to adopt. There is almost closer to zero learning curve, and there are out of the box hassle-free import capabilities to quickly import assets from Excel into QMetry. Also, we have a large pool of test assets. I just wanted to let the team know if the flow is too fast. If there are any questions, let me know and I'll try to slow it down. So I'm getting a notification that I need to slow it down. Let's slow it down. So in terms of pool of assets that we wanted to ensure there is a hand-holding for the team members is through training portals. We have lots of trainings that are for admins, end user training. We also have a dedicated account manager to help in terms of onboarding. And we also have enterprise grade support that function 24/5 to ensure there is a 360-degree adoption and support needed to the end user teams. We offer exhaustive reusability and referenceability of the assets that enable centralized adoption of QMetry. The second kind of teams comes next in terms of the overall evolution cycle or adoption of QA processes is the teams that are distributed, geographically distributed, maybe by the nature of the business, or they have a vendor and the customer sort of an ecosystem, and they want to the key challenges that they had was to ensure there is a better collaboration because these teams are working in different projects in a different geography, and they certainly needed audit trail. So the teams working different time zones, when they start up in the morning, they know where they need to pick it up from. And visibility was very important when you are into a client vendor relationship or between different project teams as well. So the solution that QMetry enables for these kind of teams is granular user permission. What QMetry offers, brings onto the table is a thorough testing specific user permission and authorization. For example, a vendor partner, you do not want to provide access to exporting asset out of the system, or certain vendor partners are only responsible for executions. That is very much possible from QMetry's perspective. Again, QMetry offers exhaustive version capabilities. So you would also be able to not only track and version manage your test cases, you would also be able to decide which version of the test case is more relevant to scope for execution or set up traceability. So we have end-to-end traceability loops and reports to provide an insight, and there are exhaustive reports that can be consumed by different QA team members from that perspective. The third kind of, allow me a moment, the third kind of teams that we've been working with are fairly mature in their testing processes, and they're diverse teams using different set of tools for projects, right? So we have project A using Jenkins, Selenium, and a different set of version control tool. Another, maybe a Bitbucket or GitHub, and there is another team that is using Bamboo, Cucumber, and GitLab. So all of these teams using different set of automation, bug tracking, different set of automation, version control, and CI/CD tools, yet can have a centralized test management capabilities here. And we'll have a tighter, they will also need a tighter adoption to the Atlassian ecosystem, with extended tools like Confluence and of the sort. And more often than less, these teams are using legacy systems that they want to do away with. Also, these are the teams that have an optimized way of test authoring, more modularized way of test authoring that can be reused and referenced, but they are looking to go a step forward. And here QMetry offers a fantastic way of catering to these needs, which is exploratory testing, where not only the session is recorded, you can leave assertions, you can raise a defect right in between the session, and on a click of a button, it will be converted into a manual test case that can be consumed, and hence it reduces the entire authoring efforts in terms of documentation. right? So these are the teams that, these are some of the teams that I wanted to bring up, that I'd categorized in different categories in terms of QA teams, their scales and sizes. So now I would quickly navigate to the product. I would want to take you to QMetry. So this is your QMetry screen, and just like any other app, as soon as you install QMetry onto your Jira instance, it still has a very controlled approach. You can go to the project settings and decide which projects you want to enable and apply test management capabilities, which issue types you want to have a restricted access to. And also you can configure your version control or BDD tools and repositories here. As you can see, you can tie up more than one repositories. We also have QMetry granular permissions specifically curtailed and created for QA teams. So if you see here, there can be permissions allocated to testing team members for various capabilities for testers. Specifically, execution link permissions can be provided to test team members who are going to be responsible for executions. And we also have, for example, if there's a scrum master who needs to take care of planning, they can be provided responsibility around it. And again, you can restrict team members from accessing reports, importing and exporting assets out of the system. Right, so this is something that QMetry offers out of the box in terms of restricted access and where you see QMetry in your Jira instance, so it doesn't overwhelm other Jira projects and the Jira instance itself. Again, at the QMetry level, the app level, you have various configurations and customization that you can make for your testing teams at project level. So as I was mentioning earlier, your native Jira experience is absolutely extended. So your label and component fields of your Jira issue types will be extended to your QMetry test assets. We'll let you custom create your priority status and custom fields also. And these, you can create any kind of multiple number of custom fields for test cases, cycles, plan. And a lot of teams would want to have this for executions also. So we not only let you create these custom fields for executions, you can create, manage, and record your executions as well, and additional information by custom fields. We have data parameterization. So this is another way that QMetry offers optimized authoring, reducing redundancy and multiple test case creation. So data parameterization enables you to create, have the same test case available for different set of test parameters. I see there is questions here. There's a question here.
Yeah, hi. So Rupal, the question is, questions from Daniel. He's asking, are the reports customizable, like to do a full tracing from requirements to test executions?
Right. Thank you for. Right. Thank you for your question, Daniel. The reports are absolutely customizable, and you'll get end-to-end traceability views in QMetry, from a user story to test cases to executions. It can be cross-project. And as I mentioned earlier, there can be reports that can be pulled out specific to the various entities that you want to see on the reports. Please hold that question. I'll absolutely come to that, but the answer is yes. Thank you for your question. So coming back to the data parameterization, right? So we have parameters that you can create and apply to your test cases, and the same test case can be executed. The most common example is user role authorization. You want to execute and re-execute your test cases by multiple user role combinations and then gauge if it fared well. So you can create this and adopt it at test case level for executions. We also have capability to custom create your execution statuses, where you can also change the execution status priority. Environments are test platforms against which you'd want to test your application on, and specifically for agile-centric teams that have frequent sprints, drops, iterations, or builds, we offer the build capability here. We also offer capabilities to export assets or import assets from external tools directly into QMetry, right? So the migration can be easily made not only from Excel or other avenues, but also apps within the Atlassian ecosystem as well. So let me navigate to QMetry from your app section. You can navigate to QMetry app, and these are the 3 tabs that you would see here. Test cases is the one where you'd actually create and manage your test cases. Test cycles where the executions are recorded. Test planning is mainly for planning purposes, and the reports here. So on the left-hand side, let me clear the real estate a little bit. So here is where you can organize and manage your test cases in the different folder hierarchy. You can create nth level of depth of folders, and here you would see at root folder how many test cases are contained in the child folders as well. You can perform a lot of search, sort, and filter options here, and on the left-hand side, you would see a list view of all your test cases. Now, in terms of usability and simplistic approach, the GUI not only provides a cleaner interface, it also lets you rearrange this view and see what you would want to actually scope in and see in the list view. You can also create various filters, right? So if I want to see test cases that are specifically assigned to me, I can look it up. And all those test cases, or maybe let me say I have one of my team members whose test cases I would want to see. So these are all the test cases assigned to them, and I can save these filters, and these filters can be public or private. If it's public, other team members can apply to their project as well. Now this view will remain until I reset it. So if this is something that I want to see, first thing is I log into QMetry and start planning my daily activities, I can do it from here. Right, so that is one aspect of it. Another thing that I also wanted to highlight here is that you can perform various bulk operations, and you can notly clone and reuse your test assets within the project. You can also clone your assets from across projects. So you can clone assets, export them into Excel, or clone assets from this project to another project, or from this QMetry instance to another instance. So if there is a Jira instance where you have QMetry on staging, another is production Jira, and you have QMetry there, if you want to reuse it, you can do that as well. You can either create an entirely new test case from here, or import test cases. So we are going back to the use case of the first category of QA teams that want to adopt QMetry. They've been using something like Excel or other tools that provide assets in Excel. It is very, very simple. There is no stringent template to be followed. In the one go, you can quickly import multiple test cases from same sheet and import it into different folders. So you upload the file and map the fields in your Excel sheet to the fields in QMetry. It also offers folder path. So if you provide folder path to your test cases from the same sheet, it can be imported to multiple folders. It also keeps the linkages intact. So whatever requirements are linked to those test cases will also be intact when you import them into QMetry, right? So that is how simple it is to import your test cases into QMetry. Now, in this view also, there's so much that you can do from here. So, if you want to edit any test case, provided you're authorized to do that as a tester, you can do that. And you can also see the execution statuses. So if I want to pull up, allow me a moment, execution status, I can do that from here as well, right? So that is about the test case detail page. Let's dive deeper into the test cases, right? So this is one of the test case, and there are multiple kinds of test cases that you can have in QMetry. This is a simple test case. I have some custom fields and standard fields that I've allocated, testing type, flow, assignee, and all the sort. And here are the steps. So these are all rich text enabled. You can add as many formatting and other details that you would want. You can clone features, make clone steps, make attachments, and here is where you can provide the parameters to test cases. Here is where you'd be able to see the execution log of your test cases here, and you'd be able to see the story linkages. Let me pick up a different test case. Allow me a moment. So this is where I would actually highlight the parameters that we've incorporated, and I also can make attachments in the executions. Here you'd be able to see the log of all the executions performed, and these are the story linkages. Now, another aspect that we wanted to also focus for the second category of testing teams was versioning. QMetry not only provides a detailed versioning capability, it also enables teams to have traceability, executions registered and logged by versioning. It is at the discretion of the tester to decide which version of the test case is more applicable to, for traceability perspective for requirements, and also to scope in for execution. For example, if there is a feature that is more stable, and you would want to execute it on production, you might use a previous version of a test case on production and a later version on another feature on staging, right? So you can also see which version, and what stories are linked, what was execution that looked like, and you can track the entire audit trail of your test cases here. Not only that, you can also have in-field intermediary updates. So you can make in-field updates to your test cases, and whenever you intentionally want to create and log the updates in a new version, you can do that as well. Right? So that is how you'd be able to see all these versioning and other details for your test cases. The other thing that I wanted to quickly highlight here is the traceability. So, in order to keep the team members up to date and on the same page, it is very vital to reduce basically the overall feedback loop, right, for agile teams. So we have this particular user story. And on this, when a business analyst is working on this particular story, they can see the list of all the test cases that are linked to it, all the details linked to it, and they would also be able to see, modify any of those test cases right there, and they would also be able to let me take you there. So they would also be able to modify the test cases if they're authorized to do so, and they'd also be able to log the execution results, track the execution results from here. Beyond that, they'd also be able to link test cases directly, create a new test case and have it linked, or link an existing set of test cases. Now, please remember, when you're linking existing test cases, as I mentioned earlier, you get a perspective to log and link a specific version of the test case. Right? So you can also scope in this particular requirement into a set of existing test cycles. Now, what I wanted to also show in parallel was the BDD approach. So as I mentioned earlier, allow me a moment. So as I mentioned earlier, QMetry incorporates and provides the capabilities to incorporate and have a BDD editor on your user story page. So it enables shift left, lets your business analyst also contribute to your feature file. And as I mentioned earlier, at project level, you can have your version control tools configured. There can be more than one repository. So this is my feature file, Cucumber feature file in Bitbucket. And here is my Jenkins instance. So you can fire off your execution basically automatically on pushing updates to your version control tools, QMetry. You don't have to every time click on build now. It has webhooks configured, so it is absolutely automated. So let me show you what I mean here. So I have this feature file. You can also start authoring your feature file directly here. I'm going to edit this feature file and push this update. As soon as I pushed it from here, it'll be reflected into my repository, and it'll also through webhooks fire off the execution to my Cucumber. So if you see here, whatever change we made has been reflected. It would actually fire off the execution, and I would see the updates here in my in QMetry. Allow me a moment. So here is in the post build configuration, you will see all the details. One thing before I show you the execution updated, QMetry, the way it has the licensing, it does not occupy a license for automation APIs or open APIs, right? Beyond a user profile. So you can pass on, it will not only update an existing automation result. If there are any changes in the script, it will create a new version. Otherwise, you can also create a new test suite and other details. This is a post-build configuration that you would see there. We made a change. Webhooks actually initiated the execution. And as soon as the execution is completed, under the automation tab in QMetry, you would see in the history tab the latest execution that was performed. And if you see here, this is the one that just got performed, and this is the test run that got created. And under that test run, I would see my set of test cases that were executed. Again, you can also pass on the relevant parameters of what, if it's what kind of test run it is, who you would want to assign. So additional parameters also can be passed on. And these are my test cases. Let me show you how it looks on the execution screen. So if you see here, I had three test case, these test cases here. Let me go here. And first is where I'm, I have a use case of $500 withdrawals, and withdraw 25,000, and then 10,000 is what remains. And that is in line to my scenario one. Sorry, here it is, right? And that is exactly what I would see on my execution screen. So because we are at it, let me also show you that QMetry goes beyond Cucumber also. There are multiple test automation frameworks that we offer integration with, and this is available to you to see. And depending on to what automation framework you're using, QMetry will auto create test suites, test cases, and steps into it. So it will also, go ahead and create the hierarchy. So for example, for test ng or JUnit, you would be able to create, tag a class name or a method name as a test suite and test case into it, right? So that is how QMetry will actually go ahead and cater to the entire automation aspect of it. Let me go ahead and take you a step further. So we are at test cycles now. Test cycle is where you'd actually cater to all the execution. A test cycle is combination of different test executions. And again, there is a list view that you can customize. You can pick up test cycles assigned to you and start working on it. You can provide whatever additional details in terms of custom and standard fields. You can scope in test cases. And again, you can, while searching for test cases, you can scope in test cases by stories or directly test cases, and you can decide which version of a test case you want to execute on which particular platform or environment, and you can make attachments on and so forth. So let me take you to execution screen. Now the execution screen is something that our users really appreciate about QMetry, and here is where you would see let me go to a different view. So yes, you have two views for executions. The teams that are very Excel familiar, Excel used to Excel-like executions, they have a list view, or you can also have this view also. So here you can actually execute the same test case multiple times by clicking on start new execution on different platforms, or maybe for different builds, if you have very frequent builds in your agile workflow, and you can carry on with those. And again, from here, you can actually sort and filter and group your test cases by multiple options. You can also perform various bulk operations. You can look up for test cases that have failed, and you now want to execute it on a different environment. So you have multiple options to actually clear the clutter, pick up what you want to see, only execute that part, group it the way you want to see it, and have a focused approach, right? And again, we have two different views here that you can see from here. And again, another thing that I wanted to also highlight is we had seen the story part of traceability. From here, you can also raise a bug. So when you're working onto an issue, QMetry will automatically provide the traceability view to a developer to see, what is the scope of execution, where it was linked, in which test run, what is test case summary, the steps to reproduce in terms of environment, if it's if the step was bug was raised at the step level or otherwise, right? So another thing that I wanted to also quickly highlight at test run level. Sorry, allow me a moment. Let me go back to my test run. So another thing that I also wanted to highlight here is that for your test runs, you would also be able to see a lot of additional details. Let me go to the cycles. And so we offer a quick optimized summary while you're carrying on with your executions right here on your screen. So we just saw how you can set up the traceability. You can also export these assets into Excel, but you also can quickly see the summary. So you can see the summary of the test execution you're making here. You can also see a bug summary, and you can navigate to it directly from here, and whatever attachments have been made can be viewed from here as well. So all of these details, and again, all of these are drilled down that you can actually look it up from here. right? And another thing that I also wanted to highlight. So basically, when team members, there are a lot of times that you want to re-execute the same set of test cases that you're scoped in under this particular test cycle under different situations. So I just want to pick up all the high priority test cases that are to be executed for performance testing that have failed on 5 different platforms, right? And then you can decide if you want to actually navigate and take forward or carry forward the link defects, attachments, comments, so the testers remember, what were how did it look, the screen look when it fails, on and so forth, right? So that's how the execution is basically catered to. And we also have a test plan module. A test plan in QMetry is basically an asset that we have specifically provided to teams to actually combine these different test cycles, set up a timeline, and keep a track of it, right? That's mainly for mid-level managers, or program managers, or Scrum, aspect that can be discussed when you're having a roundtable for Scrums. And there are reports that, again, we have collaboration board. Again, something that I missed out on earlier aspect that is very vital is you can actually enter into a chat mode, in a collaborative mode, and you can tag team members that, I want my TL leads to actually go ahead and work on to this, right? And they'll actually get a mailer, and again, it can be a chat mode, and I can decide how I would want to adopt to it. Now, beyond this, I wanted to quickly go on to the reports, but once I go back to, I think we needed a quick time check. All right, so we have some time now. I see there are a couple of questions as well. I just wanted to ensure that we have enough time for the questions. Now, another thing that I wanted to also quickly highlight is in terms of the test reports. Now, we have empty number of test reports that are exhaustively available, categorized for end users to consume, senior managers to get a quick perspective. And we go beyond this. We also allow the team members to publish it on Confluence. There are a lot of testing teams that actually use these, would want to see these details in Confluence. So I'll take you there soon. So the first report that I would want to take is test case summary report by custom fields. If you would want to actually create cross-project reports, from here you can do that. You can select a custom field, and you can create a diversified report. You can select different views of these reports, and all of these are drill downable. So you can actually drill down to an individual asset from here. The second kind of report that I also wanted to highlight that is very vital, that provides an excellent perspective to team members, again, you can also apply filters, is the traceability report. Now, the traceability report gives you a mind map of your requirements to the number of test cases in whichever version it's been linked, the test cycles, and the defects that are linked to it, right? So you can get a quick perspective of the entire coverage of your test assets. And we also have varied reports beyond this, but let me go ahead and, in the favor of time, show you how you can also incorporate these in dashboards. So I've created a dashboard here, and there are some of the customized report filters that I had created to see a quick perspective on the matrices or summary that matters to me, right? Now, you can add your own gadgets. So for example, if I want to show you, I can go here, edit. And when I create a new dashboard, I can go here, edit a dashboard and say, okay, here is what I want to add to my dashboard, right? So whatever filters you create, you can add and create a gadget from here. At the same time, as I was mentioning earlier, we have a very tighter integration with the entire Atlassian ecosystem as well. And you'd also be able to see your assets on Confluence. There are a lot of teams in this ecosystem that prefer seeing assets in Confluence, right? For varied reasons. And we offer this capability in QMetry, where you can decide whichever assets in tabular format or otherwise you'd want to see in QMetry. So all of that is visible here and can be consumed right here in Confluence itself. The third aspect of it that I wanted to also cover today is exploratory testing. Something that our teams really love about QMetry is the way it enables different a step up from a modularized, reusable capabilities. So this is in Confluence. Let me take you to Allow me a moment. Let me take you to our expertise testing tab. So here is my QMetry app. I'll go to what expertise testing does is for additional team members, what it does is, let me open up the tab. So what it does is it offers the capabilities to go ahead and not only record your session, but also allows you to go ahead and convert it into a test case automatically. Now I'll show you QMetry has a detailed, a very easy capability. Let me switch to Chrome real quick. Allow me a moment. In the meanwhile that I'm getting this set up, Manoj, do you want to take a question?
Yeah, certainly. Okay, so we have a question from Daniel again. Can you create bugs or incidents by step on the execution?
Yes, thank you for your question. Yes, thank you for your question. I'm sorry. Okay. So there was an echo. Yes, thank you for your question, Daniel. Absolutely. I would soon resume screen sharing and show you that you can raise bugs at test case level as well as step level, and you will still see the traceability from that perspective on all the issues, right? So let me resume my screen sharing. And I will show you, allow me a moment, we'll go to test cycles real quick, and let me go to the example that we picked. We'll go to the execution cycle, and here I have a bug that I've logged, and this bug is at a step level, right? And similarly, you can also raise a bug at test case level, and irrespective to where it has been raised, it will show you the entire details of for the tester to see the steps to reproduce it. So I have this issue here, and in this issue, when I see the traceability from the bug to test cases to execution, I'd also be able to see where this apologies. You would also see which level the bug has been raised, if it is at the test case level or it is at the step level, right? So this is what I was talking about. This is at the step level. And you'll also see any supporting documents. Right, perfect. Thank you for your question. I will quickly navigate to expertise testing. It's very simple. We have this expertise testing tab here, and I have the token and the rest set up. So let me, what QMetry does is it offers you the capabilities to, I wouldn't say automate your testing efforts. I would say you would, you would certainly get reduction in authoring efforts or documentation of test cases. So I've just started my session here. I'm to go ahead and this is blocking my screen. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Amazon, and there's some festive offers. So I'll go ahead and add some additional, let me see. I'm not sure if I have iPhone here, iPhone 14. So I just go ahead and maybe look up for. And if you see here, right in between your session, you would be able to leave assertions, log a defect, leave voice annotations. So I just go ahead for this one and maybe add it to the cart and go to, okay. It doesn't want me to buy now. And I would just go ahead and enter some details. And I would want QMetry to leave an assertion here on this particular box. Right. So let me stop the recording and save it. As soon as QMetry uploads it, once I come back to QMetry, go to the sessions, I would be able to see the log of all the sessions that have been carried out with the screenshots. The best part is it also auto records the timestamp and the ecosystem or infrastructure on which this was raised, right? So I see all the steps. So if you see here, it is giving me the entire log documented here. So I see the documents, as in the steps. Now, again, for example, you can also modify this before converting into a test case. So, if I have a click here multiple times, I can say, this is click here for add to cart. And this is click here for purchase, for example, right? Buy now. So you can edit it. You can very well have control on how you want to consume this session. And as you see here, the assertions are also very visibly available here. And all of these screenshots are not lost. They will go as an attachment with your test tab. You would see event details here. You would also see the defect log and rest. So you can create a test case from here. If you see, all the details are populated automatically. I'll click on create a test case. And I'll go to that particular test case directly. Right, so this is my test case. These are the steps. And everything that we had recorded is there. Had I logged a defect, that defect also would have been carried along with it. And I see the step details, there are attachments. At step level, I can also make attachments. At test case level, I can initiate the executions and then incorporate ideally the way I would into my entire testing iteration. So that's, I think, in brief that I wanted to cover for QMetry. You can also from here, you can directly log a defect into your session, and that will get, so whatever page I was has been directly incorporated. I think that basically summarizes it all in terms of exploratory testing. Right. I really wanted to open this now for the questions. I see there are a couple of questions here. That is really exciting. I'm looking forward to any feedback, any questions. We'll try to cover as much during this session. But if there are some questions that were missed out, all of us are available at the booth for the remainder of the JiraCon. We would love to interact with you. And we would also really like to set up a detailed product walkthrough and give you an insight into the product curtailed to your specific testing needs, right? So I'll stop the screen sharing right now, and I'll be on mute, and I'll request Manoj to shoot the questions for me, please.
Yeah, hi, Rupal. So the question is from M.A. Hakim, and it is, can we use the same test plan for more than 2 projects and execute it at the same time?
All right. Let me understand let me reiterate the question and understand see if I understand it right. Thank you for your question. So I understand that you want to know if the same test plan can be actually used across multiple projects, right? See, basically you can, there is exhaustive cross-project reusability for all the test assets, maybe test cases, test cycles, and you can also pull up reports across projects. What we believe is, that test plans are curtailed and specific to the current project that you have on hand. And hence they are contained in a project. However, if you see here, all the test cycles in that particular test plan can be applied and can be used for different other projects, right? So you can use test cycles for different other projects as well. I hope that answered your question. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was not sharing the screen, but I was at test plan screen, and I wanted to demonstrate while I was speaking that test plans are contained in a project, ideally because the planning curtails to that scope of that particular project, whereas test cycles along with test cases and reports can be cross-project, or assets can be reused across projects. So cycles can certainly be reused across projects.
Okay, the next question is from Daniel. Is that exploratory testing feature available for data center instances? And if it is, does it work with DC behind a firewall or VPN?
Yes and yes. I'm sorry, there was an echo. So the answer is yes and yes. It can absolutely. So exploratory testing feature is applied to all the hosting type, inclusive of data center, and it will absolutely work behind the firewall. As soon as you go ahead and try it, if there are any issues, feel free to reach out to us, either all the three of us at the booth. We'll also share our contact details at the end of the session. You can also reach out to our tech support and our account manager, as I mentioned earlier, who are product experts, who help the customer teams for onboarding QMetry. Will certainly help you with that. All right, so I think we are reaching. Manoj just notified we are at a time which is soon be the end of the session. To conclude, I just wanted to highlight that we at QMetry, again, as I mentioned earlier, believe in creating a simplistic approach which is native to Jira, yet offers extremely customizable testing experience within the Atlassian ecosystem to the DevOps teams for continuous testing, and build that entire Agile-centric experience extended to the Agile teams also. And hence, we would absolutely want to invite the team members for a detailed demo for your extended team members to try the integrations, out of the box integrations across the DevOps pipeline for Agile teams, and some features that are widely liked by our end users, like, as I mentioned earlier, user role, specifically curtailed user role authorization, integrations with CI/CD, version control, and automation solutions, and the tighter integration that it has with the Atlassian ecosystem. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we've ensured that the teams that want to quickly start up with QMetry have no additional cost, so it's available FOC for up to 10 users, and we have a free trial of up to 30 days over cloud for the team members, and additionally for server and data center. Right. So thank you so much, everybody, for your time. And I absolutely had an amazing time presenting and answering the questions. We look forward to interacting with all of you in the remainder part of the JiraCon at the booth. Wishing you a very productive day ahead and a great weekend. Thank you so much.